Welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino. Our guest today is Kathey Batey. Kathey is a domestic mediator, divorce coach, author, speaker, and corporate trainer on conflict communication. Kathey leads divorce support anonymous groups that go from 10 weeks or up to 6 months. For example, Divorce Support Anonymous, the 4 stages of divorce, goes for 10 weeks. Building Your Future After Divorce goes 8 weeks, and New Life Mastermind Group for 5 weeks. Individuals enroll monthly to go as long and as far as they wish to go. Kathey is the author of the Suddenly Single series and other books. She has worked with hundreds of individuals going through life transitions. In addition, Kathey has 25 years experience in the corporate world. Today, Kathey will share some sage advice for those going through the trauma of divorce. Kathey, welcome to Business Notes, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Diane.
It's a delight to have you on here because this is a big issue that a lot of people go through. And tell us, why do you think people should not go through divorce alone?
Well, having worked with hundreds of people over the past 15 years, I see the ideas that they come in with in support group or divorce coaching. And if we are left to our own voices in our head, we are not going to progress through this divorce. We need a network of experts to come alongside of us. We need the legal, the financial, the emotional, the spiritual. I am a divorce coach along with a support group facilitator. So I hear what the ideas that people come in with, such as, I'm never going to survive this. I'll never be loved again. There's no future for me. And those are not true. So if we're left to ourselves and we isolate during this experience, the only voices we're going to hear are in our head, or those uninformed friends who want the best for us, but they're not knowledgeable enough to really guide you through this experience.
Yeah, that's very true. So tell us, what is your coaching and support group offer that we need both during and after divorce?
Yes, thank you. Divorce coaching is a one-on-one that I do, and I help prepare them for going into meeting their attorney for the first time. I have a no-cost workbook that is downloadable from my website, Divorce Support Anonymous, and that helps them prepare to go see their attorney. And it also, I will work with them directly, depending on where their need is. Because I am a domestic mediator, I do have that background, that knowledge. I don't give legal advice, but I do guide people individually through this process, what to expect, how to behave, because it's new to them. They've never been here before. So I want to guide them through that. And then, of course, the support groups is an opportunity for you to be with other people. So when you hear other people articulate your pain that you haven't been able to make clear, to articulate yourself, it really allows you just a huge relief. It's like, this is normal. I'm not crazy. This is normal. Other people understand what I'm going through. So they're both critically important. And again, not to go through it alone, because there's such a landmine of places where you could really make some poor decisions that would affect you and your children the rest of your life.
Well, that's an excellent point. Now, to be clear, Kathey, you work with both genders, male and female, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't want to give this one-sided because we're both females, because males suffer just as much as females do during divorce.
Absolutely true. And I have worked with several men, whether that's one-on-one or in the support groups, and they hurt. They may not have the vocabulary to express how they hurt, but they hurt, because I think the majority of women are more in tune with emotional vocabulary than men are, but they still hurt. And so it's critically important that they are in a support group, because when they hear, again, whether it's a man or a woman, articulate what they are going through, it just gives you so much hope and normalizes what you're going through.
Right. And you've been doing this virtually for a long time too, even before COVID hit. So people don't need to worry about whether they're in person or virtually, right?
Correct. Yes, I hold the virtual support groups and do it with people all over the country. So it allows them to get the support they need. They don't have to go out, particularly if they have small children. So we start at 9 o'clock p.m., which seemed like an odd hour, but you're able to put your children to bed and you're able to focus and get the support that you need.
Right.
Kathey,
Right. Kathey, do you think people jump into that next relationship just a little bit too soon?
Yes, they do. I cover that in the support groups, and it was quite cute. I had one woman come up to me and say, "Kathey, you know we're not listening to you, right?" And I said, I know you're probably not, but it's important that you heed the warning." And I had one gentleman come back to me and say, I was really angry with you when you told us not to date. And then I went out on a couple of dates and I totally understood why, because I was not ready. They ended up talking about their former spouses. So it's not a first date or any date that someone would want to go on, but instead to focus on your own healing, to figure out who you are and what you want through this trauma. Because many of the people I work with have been married 20 years, 30 years, and some 5 years, but they are in such a state of bewilderment and they're lonely. And so it's very easy to jump into that next relationship, but you're not ready and you're not going to be the same person when you come out of this as you are in the middle of it. So please focus on your healing, figuring out who you are, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to get healthy before you're ready to jump into that next relationship.
It takes time. It takes time. Now, you work with adults, but of course, children, as we know, are hurt during a divorce as well. Do you work with them?
I do not work with children. I do work with, obviously, the parents of children. In fact, I'm holding a seminar coming up called How Not to Screw Up Your Kids During Divorce, because parents need some tools. They are so hurting, and it's very easy for them to confide in children. And this could be adult children as well, that they should not confide in, because it's too big of a burden for children to bear. So when you get your own support, then you're not going to make those mistakes with your children, such as have them the messenger or say things like, well, we can't do that because dad didn't pay child support. Oh, it's so difficult for children. So I work with parents and I say, the best thing you can do, you may have a crazy ex-spouse out there behaving in ways that are just ridiculous and teenage-like, but for you to be that consistent parent is so incredibly valuable, so your children can have that place of security. And so we go through different tips of don't have them a messenger, don't bash the other parent. Your children need a mom and a dad. That's how God designed it. So don't try to hurt that relationship unless they're really harmful and abusing the children. So be that consistent parent, get your own support so you don't dump on your children, and don't bash the other parent. Be mindful that this is a trauma for them too. So don't put that adult weight upon their shoulders. And oh, how I wish that all parents would heed that warning. In domestic mediation, I see people that come in, particularly women in this case, because they don't feel like they have any power. So they're going to they're going to grab anything that they can to hurt the other spouse. And unfortunately and tragically, sometimes that is the children, access to the children. And it's just cruel. But we as adults are hurting so badly that we don't know where to turn. And I hope that they get the support and they get the knowledge to separate. Your babies need a mom and a dad. They don't need your adult stuff to deal with.
Right, right. It's tough. It's tough. Now, Kathey, I want you to tell our audience a little bit about your background because you really have an extensive and impressive background.
Oh, you're kind. Thank you. Well, I spent a lot of years in the corporate world, doing some account executive and account management work, and then I just kind of branched off and thought, it's time in my life to really do what I want to do, and that is to help people. Having gone through my own divorce 23 years ago, I recall the trauma that it was and the loneliness that I felt. And so I determined I don't want people alone. So I've written several books. I've been fortunate to do some corporate training on conflict. I work in that realm as well, which is surprising because I hate conflict and I love peace. But I realize that conflict is just a part of life. And if we can learn the skills to go through it, we are going to be better as a person, as an employee, as a teammate, if we learn to use conflict constructively.
Mm-hmm. And you are also, are you a licensed counselor?
I am not a counselor. No, I'm not. I am a coach. So there's a difference. I'm going to get behind you and tell you, here's what you need to do. A counselor is going to help you unwrap, although I do have a counseling in my education. I'm not a licensed counselor. I never took that final step. So, but I do speak with a lot of counselors. In fact, I've got a counselor right now editing my next book, 30 Days of Healing Going Through Divorce. And I have counselor friends and coworkers that I bounce things off of. So well informed in that area and always continuing to learn.
Wow, adding to your book list. And when will this book be out?
Hopefully it will be out in the end of March when I do my seminar, because the first 50 people who attend the seminar are going to get a free copy.
Excellent. So Kathey, just what are some of the benefits of mediation?
Thank you for asking. It's a really unknown service that people can access. So in mediation, when you're going through a divorce, what happens is the parties, if they're willing, come together and try to sort out all of their assets and debts and co-parenting. They may or may not have an attorney with them. Most cases have an attorney with them to guide them, but this is opportunity for them to take control of their life and have the power to make these decisions. If you end up going to court, you're going to stand in front of a judge who looks over a sheet of paper, maybe a couple of sheets of paper, which capsulize your life, and they're going to make the determination of how the rest of your life is going to go. But in mediation, you have the opportunity. You can resolve all issues in mediation, the co-parenting, the assets, the debts, the division of personal property. We can take care of all of that. And when we do that, then you have a better chance of getting what you want. Again, if you leave it to the courts, the judge is going to decide, this gives you opportunity. Let's get this resolved. Let's divide all the assets and all the debts and take care of the co-parenting issues, so that when we leave there, it's like, I didn't get all that I wanted, but it's much better than the unknown of someone else making that decision. So that is mediation, and I do that regularly. So I have several a week that I work on and do, and they are very time consuming when you go through all personal property, and depending on the extent and the complexity of people's lives, what you have to divide. So
yeah, a judge and other people like that are just not always concerned about your needs either. Never mind what you want, what you really need to get through the rest of your life.
Very, very true. And I have, I've seen some attorneys who are wonderful in guiding. I've seen some others that are not so wonderful in guiding. So this is, as I begin the mediation, I let them know this is your opportunity. And it's not a high pressure. I say, you want timeout, we'll take a timeout. But it does give you the power to make those decisions.
All right. And Kathey, how do you prefer people get in touch with you?
I have a website, Divorce Support Anonymous. I have a Facebook page. I also have a private group. So I'm pretty easy to find. If you get the spelling of the name right, I'm pretty easy to find.
Well, we'll put that up there to make sure they do. Kathey, you really bring some much needed help to people that find themselves in very traumatic situations. And people do need some outside support when they go through trauma like this. And I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Diane. It's been great to be with you.
Thank you for watching Business Notes. We've been speaking with Kathey Batey, domestic mediator, divorce coach, author, speaker, and corporate trainer on conflict communication. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.